If you were raised in a home with chickens, one of your favorite questions was probably, can hens really turn into roosters? If you've ever looked at your flock and wondered if there's a rooster hiding in plain sight, we have good news for you. Hens can indeed turn into roosters. Although it is a rare occurrence that doesn't happen very often, there are documented cases where this has happened. So how exactly does a hen turn into a rooster? What do you need to look out for? Why should you be excited about it? Keep watching to find out. Hens are female chickens, typically those kept for their egg-laying abilities. Conversely, a rooster is a male chicken known for its crowing and for fertilizing eggs. Most chickens are sex-linked, meaning that males and females have different colors, shapes, or patterns. This is most common in domestic breeds. When you purchase chicks from a mass hatchery, they will typically be sexed at day old and separated by gender. However, sometimes during this process, a mistake can occur and a hen can end up being housed with a bunch of roosters or vice versa. In addition to color, you can usually tell the difference between a rooster and a hen by looking at their bodies and behavior. Hens tend to be plump because they store fat for egg production, while roosters are typically leaner. They also have longer pointed tails, larger wattles and combs, darker skin, and more aggressive behavior. These physical characteristics are present from birth and don't change over time. In most cases, when you see a supposed hen turning into a rooster, it's actually just a case of misidentification from a young age. However, there are some instances where a hen can turn into a rooster, although this is extremely rare. What is the science behind it? Chromosomes are thread-like structures found in the nucleus of human and chicken cells. Humans normally have 23 pairs of chromosomes, one from each parent, and chickens have 34. Of these chromosomes, the 17th pair determines the sex of the bird. Male chickens have 2 Z chromosomes, one from each parent, while females have a Z and a W chromosome. The male parent contributes either a Z or a W chromosome to the offspring, and the female parent always contributes a Z chromosome. Therefore, it is the male parent's contribution that determines the offspring's sex. Most mass hatcheries use a sexing technique called vent sexing, where the male and female vent areas are examined with the aid of dim lights. Vent sexing is usually highly accurate, but mistakes happen from time to time. However, some genetic mutations can also cause sex reversal in chickens. The most well-studied mutation affecting sex determination in chickens is the one that affects the DMRT1 gene. The DM domain, which is responsible for the reversal of sex in chickens, was first discovered in fruit flies. Later, scientists found that chickens also had a DM domain, which was located on the Z chromosome. It was also found that the DM domain protein product negatively regulates the activity of the female determining factor, the W chromosome. Thus, it has been suggested that DMT1 might be involved in the pathway of dosage compensation in chickens. The findings of this study showed that the expression pattern of DMRT1 is consistent with its role in sex determination and differentiation in chickens. In the few documented cases of hens turning into roosters, the sex chromosomes of the affected birds were analyzed. In all cases, it was found that the affected birds had 2 Z chromosomes, making them genetically male instead of female. One such documented case was reported in 2016 by a farmer from South Africa. He noticed one of his hens had started crowing, although it had not shown any signs of crowing in the previous 2 years. Furthermore, this hen had never laid an egg. After further examination, it was determined that this hen had 2 Z chromosomes and was actually a rooster. This hen was around 6 years old at the time. It's interesting to note that the oldest age at which a hen has turned into a rooster is 9 years old. However, no documentation exists to support this claim. A similar case was documented in 2020 when a Rhode Island red pullet began to crow. At first, its owner thought it was mimicking the sound because it spent a lot of time with the pet rooster. However, the bird eventually stopped making the noise. Upon necropsy, it was found that it had 2 Z chromosomes. It was speculated that the bird experienced stress due to the culling of other birds in the flock, which may have caused it to start crowing. The owners felt that this was possible since the bird only started crowing after another rooster was killed by a dog. The sudden onset of crowing in response to a perceived threat is also a rare but well-documented phenomenon in domestic hens. It is hypothesized that this happens because the hens are physiologically predisposed to vocalize in response to danger. Much like other animals, As far as what you need to look out for if you think one of your hens is turning into a rooster, it's important to take a close look at their sex chromosomes to confirm this. You can do this by sending a blood sample to a lab for genetic testing. However, this is not something most farmers would do unless they were planning to breed their chickens. In most cases, when you see a hen turning into a rooster, it's just a case of misidentification. So, should you be excited about it? If you're a farmer or backyard chicken keeper who's raising your birds for meat or eggs, it's not really important whether or not your hens are turning into roosters. However, if you're a scientist or researcher studying avian genetics, then yes, you should be excited. As we mentioned earlier, the discovery of the DMRT1 gene and its role in sex determination was made in fruit flies and later confirmed in chickens. Scientists believe that the same gene may play a role in sex determination in other animals as well. Further research on this topic could lead to the development of new methods for controlling the sex of offspring in other species, which could have major implications for agriculture, conservation, and medicine. Another reason why you should be excited about hens turning into roosters is that it's just plain weird. Who doesn't love weird science stuff? Now that you know the surprising truth about whether or not hens can turn into roosters, it's time to ask yourself, did you learn nothing? We hope you enjoyed today's video and learned something new. So, please leave us a like and subscribe to our channel for future videos. Also, let us know in the comments section what you think about this topic. Thanks for watching. See you next time.